part of what California title, what we want to talk about over this course over the last couple of months is our Strive to Thrive campaign. And so weekly we're doing updates on different ways and tools to use that help you guys with your business. So this is one of our examples we talked about this last week is our smart search on our website. And all of our team is fully trained and ready to go and teach you guys these things individually. They're more than happy to do individual Zoom meetings if you have questions after here. So that's me. I'm in Los Angeles, but along with my colleague, Mark Medina, we have Dave Erb, our president, David Scarman, Bill Thomas is our county manager. We have our sales reps in Orange County, Cam Hunter, Toby, and Cindy. And in San Diego, we have our county manager, Linda Hill. We have the SD team, which is Mike Turner and Brenda Brigland. Team SD, Brian McCloskey and Erica Greeny. Maria Belkamp, as well as Tommy. So we have a team here that's been with us for a long time. I think the average of our sales reps has been probably about 15 years with the company. Some of us have been there for the start of this company, 20 years. So today what I did is we did a class earlier today on our mobile app. And one of the things I talked about was we're fortunate that we have Jim McCahill, who's on the call with us today. Jim is our director of internet and mobile technology. So what Jim does is Jim actually creates all these cool tools that you see us present as a sales reps to you guys out in the field. So Jim is sort of the brainchild of these things. And what's nice about that technology is the fact that if you guys have suggestions for us, you go to your rep, you go to Toby and say, hey, Toby, I would really like to see this on your guys' site or your mobile app. We take that back and we go to someone like Jim, and Jim figures out how to program these things. So we're pretty nimble with that, which is very nice. And we're always updating these things. So that's why you're seeing a lot of training going on. We just updated a ton of stuff on our website just as the stay-at-home order happened. So there was some foresight there, apparently, that we knew you guys would be using these things. So Jim is here. Today we're going to be talking about net sheets.
I've got some slides from a recent demo, but I won't go into these slides because there are a bunch of other slides for other topics, and some of you maybe have seen them before. But I do have a slide here that's got my name and my email and such. But again, you can talk to your local rep, and they all know my number, they all know my email. We're in constant connection, and again, we do build this stuff ourselves, so your feedback is just one hop away from the production of these tools. So that's great. And let me also jump in. I have a couple more slides in here that will show where you can find these as we get into them. So you may already know this, but there's two main places. One is called CTC Mobile, and that is our mobile app. And it's available for iOS and for Google Android phones. So you just go onto the App Store and search for CTC Mobile, and we should be usually the first result. When we first started, there was a game called like Castle Tower Conflict or something, and it was ahead of us. But our app eventually got so popular that we've become more popular than that game. So we should be the first result, CTC Mobile. And then the website that we're going to go to is caltitle.com. So both those places have the same login. You're going to want to create a login because that's how we synchronize all your content between the two. And that's really something special about our tools too, is that they synchronize. So you do want to log in. So when you go to caltitle.com, and this is what our website looks like, and when you go there, there's going to be a login button, or you can click on the property info button. That's right here. Either way, it's going to ask you to log in. And again, we do require that because it lets us synchronize the content and save your content too. That's another thing. Once you start building, in this case, we're talking net sheets today. If you log in and build net sheets, we save them for you automatically, all of them. You don't have to worry about saving any kind of thing like that. We'll do it for you. So there's the place where you log in, and then if you want to create an account, there's a button right there that says create account right on the CalTitle website. It's also on the mobile app, but I recommend websites. A little easier to type your stuff in to create an account. If you go there, there's the page for that. So once you've got an account and you log in right there, it will take you to what we call Title Advantage. That's just a name for our premium services, the things that we collectively buy and build and then offer to you at no cost as our partner. And so that includes things like property profiles, farming, net sheets, calculators, and more. Net sheets, in our case, we put them under the name Net Advantage. So it starts with net, you can remember it that way. That's our net sheet, that's our closing cost section. But as Brett mentioned, he did a class earlier too. We've got property profiles, really good ones available in 10 languages. Farming is great, and we've got really deep farming tools. So that's all there, but for today, we'll focus just on net sheets. By the way, I will try to check the chat every so often.
I'm checking it too, Jim, for us.
Yeah, good. Brett, yeah, if you want to holler for me too. Good,
Sure.
yes, check both those for me if you would while I'm talking, because I'm sharing my screen too and I might not catch it, but I will try to check those. So let's jump into net sheets. So now I can give you a little history about how our net sheet program was built. We looked at some other ones that were out there, and then I worked directly with our escrow officers. I went straight to escrow officers from around our family of companies, and I quickly learned that escrow is a bit of an art, and two escrow officers have often very different ways of doing escrow. But we started out with a version based on our interaction with multiple escrow officers, and we built our standard net sheet. So you can see this one right here in the middle bottom. It says standard net sheet from property list, standard net sheet from new property. That's what we started with. And to show you how that one works, you can see there's two options, these red ones, property list or new property. So these are the more complicated ones in a way. They're the more, it's more for if you really want to get detailed when you create the report. I'm starting with that one just because that's how we started building the net sheet, but in a minute we'll show you these ones at the top called the quick net sheet, and they're often the ones you're probably going to want to use, but we'll start with this standard. So if I click standard net sheet from my property list, that just takes me to a list of properties I've done profiles on. Okay, so, and then also, let me just go back again to Net Advantage. If I click on the one that says standard net sheet new property, that takes me to a property search. And we've got these great tools where you can search by map, by owner, APN. So these two are when you start with an address. The quick net sheets, you don't need an address. The full, or what we call standard net sheets, they need an address, but that comes with a couple of benefits if you really are working with a buyer or somebody who's got an exact address you want to work with. So let's do one. So I'm going to do a search. I'll search by owner name. I'll just use a random one here and a zip code. Just something kind of generic, and we'll just scroll down. I'll pick a property at random. So again, what I've done here is I've searched a property address, a specific one with an APN and a zip code and a FIPS number and all that. So, and I go over here and I say Net Advantage report. And now it's going to say, okay, give it a name. This is optional. So I'm going to say this is standard full net sheet. And we'll make this one a, let's do buyer report in this case. Why not? And you can put your client's name if you want. That's optional. Next thing it does is it pre-populates all that from my property search. So I've got all the property information in there. And then it goes to my transaction information section. And this is where we start to get into the meat of the net sheet. And again, this is how we built this from the beginning. So the next thing you do is you put in a closing date. Okay, so this is going to bring up a calendar, and I can just scroll over and click on the date for my closing date. And I'm going to put in a sales price. We'll put in, let's see, we'll put in 960,000. Conventional loan, that's fine, and a down payment. Now, if you notice, right as I finished typing that sales price, you may have seen it, the escrow and title fees, they just went in by themselves. I didn't even type anything. That's down lower on the form, but It's thinking ahead for us. Now it asks for the down payment. This is pretty neat. If I type in 2, it's thinking, okay, 2%, and it's already filling in my loan amount. And if I put in 0, 20%, it's filled in my loan amount and automatically calculating it as I type. So these are some pretty cool features here. But if I keep typing, it realizes, well, 2,000 is not a percent, so you probably mean dollar amount. So it automatically switched it over to a flat amount. And so now I've put in 200,000 as my down payment, and it switched over automatically. So the system is smart. It tries to think for you a little bit and complete things automatically. And then let's put in my loan interest rate, and you can put in points, loan term, everything like that. This field here, optional credit. This is like if you just want to adjust at the end and things aren't quite working out, we can come back to that one, but it's just a way to balance things if you want to really dial it into the penny. Now we get to property tax. This one's interesting. So it's putting in a value, it's putting in 1.25%. So that you might think, okay, where did you get that? And we bring that in based on a database. We try to guess for your area, but you may say, no, that doesn't really work for my properties. So you can say change default percent. And if you just click that little button, you can say, oh, here we go, change default rate to 1.13. That's what I usually use. And then you just hit update, and there it did it. So you can change that. And now from now on, net sheets you create will try to use that. So that property tax rate can be done. We've even got a option here where it says view full property tax report. That is a premium feature. It's not always enabled by default, but if you don't see that as a clickable button, you can talk to your sales rep and ask for that. But what that will do is if you've got an address on the full net sheet only, this is one of the advantages of this standard version, because we have an address, we can actually go in and pull the prop tax rolls and get real property tax. So anyway, in this case, we'll just use the sort of a range one of 1.13%. And then it's automatically going to bring in our county and city transfer tax. This is based on our address, which is great. And it puts in who pays for it. And we have a database of, in every area, who customarily pays for the city transfer tax, county transfer tax. And as you can see, all these other things just pre-populated. I really didn't have to go down and look at all these, but I did just to show you. But everything is sort of calculating on its own, including who pays for escrow, who pays for title, and who pays for, for the lender policy. So let me just check the chat here.
One of the chats we got, Jim, is net sheets are sexy, which we appreciate that. Thank you. But everything about title's sexy, I think, right? Another thing is the question is are any of these training videos saved elsewhere for ones that are missed? So yeah, we are currently in the process. Sam and Cindy and Sam's office are sending us these recordings of these Zoom meetings, and we are hosting those to a YouTube channel. We'll be marketing that to you as well. But if you just go to YouTube and type in California Title Training, you'll get access to our YouTube channels, and you'll see classes like this hosted there as well, along with a lot of other stuff.
Great. Yep. Thanks, Brett. So again, really on this page, there's a lot of data here, right? It's just a lot of fields. But if you think about it, which ones did I fill out? I picked the closing date, the sales price, the down payment, and the interest rate. I didn't really have to fill out much more, but I can, of course. If I've got an HOA, I can put that in here. You can put these things in here, but a lot of them are optional. And so then if we hit continue here, the next sort of tab, and by the way, if you notice, there's these tabs. So report details, property information, transaction information. Then there's an arrow showing which tab you're on. So when we first pulled it up, it was report details. That's where I said buyer report. Property information, that one we came to was already filled out because we did a search. Transaction information was that big long one. And you can see the little checkbox there. That means we've got everything we need already for each of those sections to create the net sheet. If it doesn't have a checkbox, it kind of indicates to you there might be something we need in that section. These additional costs, this is kind of like all your closing costs, right? So little things that come into play. And so we've got some pre-populated. You notice I didn't create these. They came in on their own. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how you can control exactly what comes in here. You can design and decide for every loan type and for every report type what comes in and how much, and it will remember, the system will remember it for you so that all your new net sheets will have that. So I had some that came in for me on my account. I can remove them if I want. I can say, okay, in this case, external documents, copy production, we don't need that. I'm just gonna hit the little minus sign over here on the right, and it went away. If I wanna add a new cost or fee, there's a list of them right here. I can click on and I can say, yep, we need a home warranty. And I'm gonna click add. Brings it to the list, and that's gonna cost $600. And I can say, what else? I need a well inspection, whatever. And then you can say, yep, that's gonna be 120. So again, these things can be really fine-tuned, but we brought in some automatically, and we'll show you, especially on the quick net sheets, how you can control what gets brought in. But again, you can change any of these values.
Yeah, wire fees seems pretty high. Usually that's a pretty high amount. So you can change that, obviously.
Yeah, this is your chance to really dial in these costs. And you can even, if you've got, there's one that's not in the list here, you know, we've got a bunch of these. Let's do natural, let's do pest inspection. And then again, when you pick it from the list, click the add button, it adds it down here, and then you can add an amount. So $110 for the pest inspection. And then again, if you don't see,
yep. We got a question really quick. Is this on mobile or desktop PC? They're actually on both. So you can utilize both of these, and they marry back and forth between our mobile app as well as our desktop version.
Absolutely. I'm doing it on desktop right now, but one of the strengths about using the CalTitle tool set is that everything is on both for the most part. We try to really mirror it across the way. So yes, everything I've done so far, you could just as easily have been doing on our mobile app. So, and I'll show you here in a minute. I do have my mobile app tied to my computer here, and I'll be able to show it. So, and then finally, if you see you want to add a cost that's not even in here, maybe, you know, for this particular property, I don't know, there's like a golf course, yeah, whatever, disclosure, I don't know. You can just say add, and then a fee. That's probably not a real one, but let's just go ahead and add that. So you can add, it's just the point is you can add any custom fees and amounts that you want. So I've added, now I've got my little additional costs, and I'm just gonna hit continue one more time, and now I've got my net sheet, I'm done. So let's look at it really quick. I've got, this is gonna be my standard full net sheet. I gave it that name. It could have been, you know, something else. Sales price, new loan, I got my down payment. I've got all those little costs, including the ones I added with their numbers, property tax, and the system's very smart. It's going to go ahead and prorate the tax from the date of close of escrow to what has to the end of the year in this case, and include that. You've got your HOA fee, which is also, you know, the system does that. Escrow, title, lender's policy, counter recording fee, and transfer tax. So you can see everything here, and then it's got your bottom line. This is what you need to bring to escrow in addition to your loan and down payment. And then also, since this is a buyer net sheet, it puts in the breakdown for your monthly payment. So it's got your principal, interest, property tax, insurance, and HOA fee all summed up there in a nice thing at the bottom. So that's great.
And that's based on that loan amount, the interest rate that we originally put in.
Yep. So now you can go ahead and print it. And if you print it, what's nice too is it takes away those tabs from the right. So it makes a very nice, neat, you can see a preview here. It's just a very clean, one page, easy to read. It makes the numbers nice and big and clean report. So that's easy to print. Most browsers, including the one I'm using, Chrome here, there's an option that says save as PDF, which I can then save it as a PDF. And if you don't have that, although most browsers do, including nowadays on Windows 10, there's even an option, Microsoft Print to PDF. Just go to the print menu. That's how I recommend doing it, because it's uses the print and nicely formats it like this. That's to PDF. You can also email it. So you can click email report and just put in the email of your client and their name, optional message, and send it. Or we have a convert to PDF button in case you don't want to do it the other way. So,
and you know, let me step in there. One of the things that I like to do and have my clients do is if I'm going to email it, email it to yourself first. That way you have a copy and you know it's going out, and then you could forward it to your client. Because if you just do it from here, you don't really see that it's been, there's no sent. So you can't really look at your sent folder. So send it to yourself and then forward it on. That might be a great course of action.
Exactly. So that's cool. So I just created that net sheet. So I'm actually going to, you don't have to, it doesn't actually, you don't have to like save it, like as if you're working on a Word file or anything like that. We just save it for you automatically. In fact, every step of the way, as we went through these different tabs, we saved it. And in fact, you can go back to those tabs. You can just click on additional costs and it jumps back in time to any of these sections. So if you want to fine tune it, you looked at the final product and you're like, this doesn't look quite right. Let's change a couple things. You can do that and then just go back to view report and it'll update everything. So it lets you kind of skip through and go back. It saves it along every step of the way. And I'm just going to click this here, save and close at the end, just to close this net sheet down that I've just created. But now when I go back to my list of properties, and let's go here, you can see this one right here on Piatto Lane. That's the one that I started with this full standard net sheet. So if I open that property back up and go to Net Advantage Report, you can see now I've got one here that I've already created for this property. I can open it back up just by clicking on it. There we go, that's the one I just built. But I can also make another one. So this is another strength of our system, is that you can make as many net sheets as you want on any given property. So for this case, I might just say new net sheet. And now I'm gonna do one more buyer one. This time I'm gonna go really, really fast because I already did one sort of slowly. And in this case, I'll say, scenario with lower sales price. So we're going to basically tell our buyer, okay, what happens if we sell it a little bit? We have an offer already in. Instead of whatever I put for that first one, we're going to put 895,000. I'm sorry, this is a buyer net sheet. So let's say, let's say the seller takes that you offer a lower amount because they want their monthly payment seemed high. So like, let's say we want to tell them, okay, we'll do 20% again, similar interest rate, and HOA I think was 200. There we go. And again, I'm not going to, okay, so you can see, by the way, I didn't fill everything out. And so see that box I was talking about with the check? It's not checked under this section because I missed one thing, which is the closing date. So let me just go ahead and pick that again. I think I picked something in July. And we'll continue again. I added some other one-time fees on the other one. I showed you how to do that, but in this case, so we're done. So I just skipped it this time. So now I have this other scenario with a different monthly payment for that buyer. So now I can show them that one. We've got two scenarios for your buyer. And now again, if we go back to our properties list and pull up that one on Piatto Lane and go to our net sheet, so you can see now I've got two reports. So I named it scenario with lower sales price, and there's the first one. So it's really nice. Our system lets you brainstorm with your client, make multiple sheets, and we'll save them all neatly tied in with the property.
Jim, one of the questions we just got was, can this be personalized, meaning with the agent's information on it? What's the personal?
So yeah, there's a little bit of a limitation on what we can do on personalization. There is a little bit.
Yeah, and the reason that is legally, we're not allowed to necessarily make you guys marketing pieces. So we can't fill in your information all on there for you guys to market because of SB 133 rules. But there is a couple tricks that you can do. One of them is if you convert it to a PDF and then take a PDF unlocker, then you could go in there and you could actually put in your information on it. So PDF, if you don't have a PDF unlocker, just go to Google and type in PDF unlocker, and you probably be able to download a program that will do that. And then Jim, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, that's a great point. If you create a PDF version of it, now and if you have the full version of Acrobat, or there's some other free PDF editing tools, and you could just merge in a cover page, that would be a great way. We've got this field here where it says created for, so you can and you can name it, so you can do a little bit of customization. And then when you
And it
go to
has who
your,
created it too. And it has your name on
right.
it, who created it.
Yep. Yep. So, here's kind of like some of the stuff you'll see. And then if we go to print again, you'll see some of that, but it is from a legal standpoint, SB 133 and other things, we're a little limited as far as putting, like your logos and things on it. But
And another question
again,
we just got, Jim, was how easy is it to delete these if
right.
you ran a couple extra ones you don't want anymore?
Yeah. So we do have a way to do that. I'm going to check and see if let me see here. I'll show you on the mobile app how to do that. I don't see the button here on the website yet. It's supposed to be, I think, on this. Let me go to this screen here. I think we'll be adding it right here. There'll be a little button. I don't see it right now though, but that will be it. It'll be right there. And the other thing you can do is delete the property altogether. And there is a way to do that. So if you go to My Properties, we've been working on this one, Piatto Lane. Right here at the bottom, there's a button that says Delete Property. So that'll delete all your net sheets and the property itself from your property list. So if you're trying to clear things out, you can definitely do it that way. And I believe on the mobile app, you can actually delete individual ones. So that's a good time to look at that really quick. Here's our mobile app, and I've got my iPhone connected to my computer so you can see it here. And I haven't been touching my phone this whole time. I've been doing this demo. But as I pick it up now, and this is it right here, you're able to see my screen there, but kind of went, there it is. So as I'm using it here, I'm going to tap on Net Advantage. And as you can see, it's a very similar looking menu. We really try to mirror things a lot. And I can tap on, actually, there's a couple places I can do this. I go to Properties, My Properties, and there it is. You see the one at the top, Piatto Lane. That's my guy. It's where I've been doing this demo. And there it is. And I can say Net Advantage Report. And sure enough, here's my two reports. So everything's synchronized. You can see I created these on my desktop, but they're waiting for me here on the mobile app. So I don't see a delete button here either. So really, there is a way. Oh, I remember how to delete them. Sometimes, we create all this stuff. And I did build a place that I'll show you in a minute where you can delete them on both desktop and mobile. But before I get to that, here's the view. So I've got this address and I can create new reports, but I've got two existing reports. Let me pull one of these up. Here's the one with the lower price, My Great Client. There it is. And I can go right to the report and view it. And there it is on the mobile app. And you can notice while I'm in the mobile at the bottom, there's those little sections says details, buyer info, costs. That's just the same as those tabs on the website. So if you get familiar with this on the website, it'll be really easy when you go on the road and you're like, oh, wow, let me pull up that net sheet I created for you in my office. Or if you're somewhere where you can't get to your computer and they say, will you send me that net sheet again? Sure thing. You can just pull it up right on your device and it's very similar. So again,
one thing I want to reiterate is the question, we got a question about when you did the two different net sheets with different prices. Everything else follows. If you change the sales price, taxes are going to change, title fees are going to change. Everything will actually automatically adjust to that original price you put in there. So it's a smart, intuitive system that you don't have to worry about anything else. Just know that as soon as you go from $1 million to $950,000, it's going to change accordingly all the way down.
Yep, everything updates automatically. So I'm looking at one of these I created on the desktop, and I can change any of these values. I can just tap in on any of these things and change the values. And as Brett was saying, once you change anything in here and hit continue, it will update. So now I've got it all updated.
We just got an interesting question that I've never come across from Deborah. If your client is purchasing a property on leased land, can we use this? So probably out in the desert, Indian land or stuff like that, I guess, maybe.
I would say so. It's pretty flexible. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't work. We get a lot of questions about some interesting things. Another thing that comes up sometimes, people say, what about an all cash purchase? And it can do that too. And we would just put in 0 for the loan and 0 for the interest rate. Yeah, I would think it should be fine. I don't know if we do have any special calculations behind the scenes that would automatically adjust any costs for leased land. If you're interested in that, let us know and we can look to add that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that when I introduced Jim, is what was great about this is when we were doing these type of classes, someone comes up with a question like that. Leased land stuff is not very common with us. I mean, it's a very, very small percentage of the transactions that we do in Southern California. But there is an occasion like you had, Deborah, that you needed it. So Jim now has that. He takes notes on these things.
Exactly.
And if there is something he can build in, he will.
That's right. So, okay, so let me go back really quick to in the mobile app, because I wanted to show under Net Advantage, actually in the mobile app, it's under settings. There's a section here where it says Net Advantage settings. And if we go there, here's got some defaults. So it's got our default property tax rate, and I actually changed that earlier on the desktop, but again, everything's synchronized across. So now it's 1.13. This is the default tax rate that's going to come in. Now you can see here escrow length and buyer and seller agent commissions. These are nice because I can set these. We're about to talk about quick net sheets, and the ability to go in and set defaults allows us to do these quick net sheets super fast. So again, on the mobile app, it's under, if we start at the main menu and you go to settings, and it's under Net Advantage settings. And then right below that, you can see Net Advantage fees/costs. And the desktop version, I don't know if it's, I think later today or tomorrow, this screen will be visible on the desktop. We had a little problem with it. We're adding it, it's fixing, it's working, but we're just testing the last thing. So I'll show it to you on mobile. I don't think we can see it on the desktop as of this moment, but believe me, you'll be able to do this on the desktop too. It was there before, and we're just updating it right now. But I can show it to you here on the mobile and show you what this does. You remember when I created that report and it brought in some fees automatically? This is where you can control what comes in. So you see these little sliders at the top. It says conventional, VA, FHA. As I slide through those, you can see the values change. So, and then there's also buyer, seller, refi. So as I slide these values, slide those little sliders, it's got a different list of costs. We pre-populate them with some that we figured instead of just giving you nothing, we'll put some costs in there to start out with. But if you're doing a lot of net sheets, my guess is you'll want to either remove those or at least maybe adjust them a little bit. So this is how you do it. And again, I'm showing on the mobile desktop. If you don't see it there right this moment, check later today, tomorrow morning. But it's the same exact looking screen. You just pick the loan type and you pick the report type. So in this case, I'll go buyer VA loan, okay? And I can see all these lists of things, and I can say, okay, well, this electronics loan documents retrieval, I'm not gonna use that in this case. The VA loan maybe doesn't have that, I'm not sure. But so in this case, I just tap it and I can say delete. Now it's gone. So maybe I want to add or change the notary fee. So I'll tap on it and we'll change that to $225, save. And then I hit save again. And now my default costs are updated. So now new net sheets with the VA buyer will bring in these, 5 exact costs. And if it's a conventional loan, it'll bring in these 4 costs. And if it's a seller net sheet, it'll bring in these 5 costs, okay? So this is where you can control them. We have some default ones, but you can dial them in exactly how you want them. And now we'll show you where that gets really popular, and that has to do with our quick net sheets. So let's go ahead and go back out to my main menu, Net Advantage. I'm gonna say, this time we'll do a seller side. And instead of doing the standard, those red ones at the bottom, I'm gonna do quick net sheets. So when we first rolled our Net Advantage out to everybody, the response was, this is awesome, I can do everything, but boy, it's kind of complicated. Sometimes I'm just with a buyer and I just wanna show them something really fast. If you sell your house for this amount, here's what you're gonna pocket at the end of escrow. And we don't care, we don't really need to go into all the details. So that's when we built what we call quick net sheets. And so at the top, you can see quick net sheet buyer, refinance, seller. So again, I'm gonna do seller, and watch how fast you can create a seller net sheet. All it asks for is Yeah, go ahead.
Jim, we got a good question. So it says changing the settings and fees, will it change the previous ones? Yes. Like any previous ones you've saved? Yeah.
No, it does not. It just does them going forward. So once you create a net sheet, that's sort of a snapshot in time.
And
It is
frozen.
saved. It's frozen. You can go back and change it, but new changes to your defaults and new changes to new net sheets or anything doesn't change your old one. So they're not frozen as in you can't touch it.
You can edit them. You can edit it, but it's not going to happen
right.
automatically.
Right. So exactly. So once you create it, it's sort of like, we got you. We took the costs and fees from that time and brought them in. So
and once again, we're still in the mobile app now. We started off with the desktop version, but Jim's still in the mobile app, just in case you guys have any questions on that.
Yes. I'm flipping back and forth, I know. So, but it's easy to do because they're so similar. So again, I'll do a quick net sheet on the mobile app, and then we'll show you the desktop. But it will go back to Net Advantage, quick net sheet seller. That's that right there. And look how little I have to do to create this report. It really only requires 2 fields, to be honest, a sales price and a zip code. But in this case, I'll maybe give a mortgage balance because I want to show you this one other neat feature. So let's put in a sales price of $867,000. And now we're getting to mortgage balance on this seller net sheet. We've got this really cool feature that was suggested to us a while back, where somebody said a lot of sellers, they don't know what their actual balance is today. They haven't logged into their loan lender website lately, but they know what they took the loan out as when they started their loan. So we put this little calculator right there on the left. And if you tap it and you say, my original loan amount was 540, and it was back in 2015, that's all you need to do. And it's a 30-year loan. We found the interest rate from that time, and you can adjust it if needed, but then you just hit calculate. Okay, there's our balance, 487,000. So that's a really nice feature. A lot of sellers might not know my current loan balance right now. So you can just tell them, when did you take your loan out? How much was your loan? Got it. This is a good estimate. Remember, this is an estimate, but it's really nice to be able to just put in a time frame and a zip code, and that's all we need. So that's it. I created the net sheet. That's fast. So here it is. It's got all of our loan payoffs, prorated property taxes, homeowner association fees, if there are any. So that's how quickly you can create them. Also, I'll jump back to the desktop in a minute, but while we're here in the mobile app, a couple of quick things. This button at the top that says send/share. This is really nice because you can send this net sheet via text message, via email, Facebook Messenger, Zoom, I guess. We give you all kinds of ways to send this net sheet. So it's really, really powerful. If you want to send it as an email, we just send it right there, and there we go. Or as a text message.
We had a good question on the historical data for the mortgage calculation. How far back do we actually go? I mean, I've done them all the way back to 2000. I think I've seen, when not just myself.
Yeah.
Do you know how long we go back on the actual?
I don't off the top of my head, no. But we did. We found some historical lending loan rates, and the average loan rate throughout the years, and we put that into a database. I don't know for sure how far back it goes, but if you find a date that's not far back enough, and the interest rate from that date, let us know. We'll add it to our database.
And that's a tool that a lot of my clients use, which is great. So especially when they're going to go, on a listing presentation, I always have the questions, hey, Brett, what's the balance on their loan? As title representatives, we only know what the original loan amount was based on the recording of the deed of trust. So we don't know what the balances are, but this tool right here helps people sort of get an estimate on what the balance is. So these are always great things to do, maybe before you go to a listing appointment, so you have some sort of idea. And then the only true way to find out is ask the seller for their mortgage statement. They'll be able to see it on there. Another question we had here is, how are you finding the exact correct amount of certain fees to create an accurate net sheet in advance? For example, wire fee, notary fee, et cetera. So this is not exact. Sort of how we led into this meeting is these are estimates. So it's estimated closing costs, estimated net sheets. So these are estimates. Jim showed us a couple different ways how you could adjust those But once again, you're not going to know an exact until pretty much, the day before you close, because who knows how many copies of the deed of trust are going to be recorded or pages in there. Those numbers all change. How many wire fees are going to happen? So we sort of, figured out what an average is for some of these things, but they might go up and down a little bit. So these are pretty much estimates only, and used for that purpose.
Sure. And the idea is you tune those defaults to pretty much what you would expect on your transactions, and then they will come in. They'll pre-populate from that default list, but on an individual report basis, then you can override them. You can take ones out, change them. So we're just trying to make it really easy, so you don't have to go through the tedious task of creating them every time, brand new. You create a cultivated set of fees for loan type and report type. We'll bring it in, and then you just have to do slight adjustments on an individual report if you want.
So, Jim, we have another question. You sort of skipped over. Someone wants to know what FIPS is.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's just it's a code that is like the county. It's something that is tied to your property, and we need it a lot for looking things up. It has to do with, it's kind of like a zip code basically, but it's more for behind the scenes that we use to tag which counties and which areas properties are in. It's very much like a zip code. So I went on the mobile app and created a quick net sheet. First, I adjusted my default costs, and then I created a quick seller net sheet. So now I'm back on my website. I'm at my computer, and I'm thinking to myself, let me grab that quick net sheet. So I go to properties, and I'm thinking, wait, where is it? I've got the Piatto Lane. That's my most recent property. Let me go there, go to net sheet. Nope, those are two buyer reports. I created a quick seller report. Now, the reason why it's not showing up under properties is because the quick net sheets don't have an address. They're not inherently tied to a property. And that was by design. People asked for that. They said, I don't always want to type in an address and do a property search. I just want to get a super quick feel for this property. And we do ask for the zip code so we can do some small, property tax customization, who pays for title in that area. But quick net sheets don't have a property, so they're not in your property list. Okay, so that's something to remember, but you can still get back to it if you go to Net Advantage. And again, we have this nice new website design, has all the main parts of our site here on the left, as well as the main menu. So on the main page, they're right at the top. But once you're in, say, to properties, if you want to jump over to net sheets, you can just use that button on the left.
Jim, there's another interesting question just came up actually, going back to the full net sheets. So HOA and Melrose fees. So if there's Melrose, are you accounting for that, or we're just going on based on property tax?
That's a really great question. So our system, when you do a full quick net sheet or a full net sheet, it doesn't by default go in and try to find out if there's Melrose on that property. It will let you enter them, but it doesn't look them up by default. However, I mentioned a premium product that can be enabled on an individual account basis, which is our property tax report. That does have Melrose. And so you can see exactly what they are. It doesn't automatically pull them in exactly, but it links you right to it. So we can show you that in a minute. So that's great.
Also, another side note, if you called your local California title rep or call our customer service department, we can get you the Melrose for a specific property. So we can give you a number, and then you could actually manually put that in as well as one of those added costs. Correct, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. So here at the end, maybe I'll jump over and show you how you can start a net sheet and then pull up that property tax report. And that's like some advanced stuff. I love that you guys are advanced in this stuff, but we'll see if we can do that if we have a minute at the end. So I mentioned I want to get back to that quick seller net sheet I did on my phone, but it wasn't tied to a property, so I need to go find it somewhere else. So I go to Net Advantage, and then right here under Net Advantage History, this purple button with the star, if you click on that, look what I get. I've got all the net sheets I've created, both quick and full, in this big list. So here's the one I created in this demo from my phone. This is a seller net sheet. I can click on it. There it is. This is the one for 867,000, and it's a seller side net sheet. So that's that one. Here's the 2 buyer net sheets I created. I can still click on them from right here. These are the ones on Piatto Lane. So I can get to everything, but I can also delete them. This is where you delete them. So there's a little trash can icon on the corner of all these net sheets. So all I have to do, I'm just grabbing one of these older ones I did and tap it. Yes, delete, and it's gone. So that's as easy. So you can do that on desktop and mobile. There's a section in mobile for Net Advantage history. That's where you can delete any older ones. So finally, let's do, let me go back to my properties list and go to this one on Piatto Lane. Click on Net Advantage, and this is the one I've got the 2 buyer net sheets already. And let's do one more really fast. We're gonna make this one a seller net sheet, seller side. And maybe it's not often you would be doing buyer and seller scenarios on the same property, but it might, you might be like working with a buyer and you're trying to negotiate with that seller and see what they might make on it. Maybe that'll help you. Boy, they're making this, they had a lot of whatever, trying to guess. You might be trying to do both sides, maybe not, but in this demo, we'll do that. So again, this is a seller net sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a closing date. You noticed on the quick net sheet, it picked a closing date based on our defaults, but I'm going to put in a sales price, $7.99, and let's put a, this also has that calculate mortgage button, same thing, you can put in your 670 and you put in the time frame when the loan was done and it pulls in the interest rate, gives you your balance. We did that. Okay, and here's our title, escrow, everything came in for us. We're basically done, but let's talk about this property tax. I had changed my default to 1.13 during this demo, and I'm gonna click on this button right here that says view property tax report. Let's see what happens here. See if this works. This is, again, kind of an advanced type of thing, but this pulled up this property that I randomly picked on Piatto Lane, and here's the actual property tax, so, and it even includes bonds and Mello-Roos. I don't see any Mello-Roos on this property. If there are, they come out in red right down here under assessments and bonds. So you would be able to say, boom, there's a Mello-Roos. It's, $700 a month. I don't know, maybe less probably, but that's where you can find it. Okay. And then also we've got our property tax here. So you can see, here it is, base amount. So now I can take that and put that right back in here under a dollar amount. There we go. So now we really got advanced and we put in the real property tax for this seller side report. So here it is. And you can see property taxes due. This is the real amount due. And, these are prorated from the closing date I picked up until, or actually from, let's see, they're going to prorate. I think I picked 7/24 as the closing date, but they're probably paid through 6/30. So we really try to guess by the time of the year when the seller has likely already paid their property tax. So they're probably already paid, from 6/30. So this seller is going to just owe a month of property tax based on this amount, and here's what they owe. So that's some pretty advanced. Yeah.
And again, you could change out the seller, the sales price, and on this one property, you could put numerous ones in there, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So
yeah. And one of the nice things about that is just a quick little story. When I was selling my house, I had one of my houses in like 2004, and I was trying to figure out how much money I had to buy my next house. I took a legal pad and I created my own estimates with, 8 different sales prices. If I got this, so this does them for everyone now. So it's great that new technology has advanced so much, and it makes it really, really easy to do so instead of me taking a legal pad out anymore.
Yep, exactly. So that's the idea. You can create multiple reports. We save them, and here they are. So here's my property. I've got my seller side report and 2 buyer side reports, all created in this demo. all different scenarios. You know, probably in your case, it'll be all on one side or the other, but you can do as many as you want and as many on each side. So that's a pretty detailed walkthrough of both full net sheets and quick net sheets, both web and mobile. Again, everything you do on the website automatically synchronizes to the mobile app. So if I go to my properties here in my mobile app too, there they are. You know, everything just synchronizes right across. So it's easy to create new reports on both sides. I accidentally created another one there, but you know, it's really easy to build them, and everything synchronizes across. So I hope that was a helpful look. We got pretty detailed in there, but again, I like to stress everything you've seen here on caltitle.com and CTC Mobile, we build it. So if you run into any problems, if you run into any bugs, just let your rep know, and they tell us right away, and we get on them. And or if you see a feature you'd like to add, you know, let us know.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. I want to take out your screen for a second. Yeah, one of the things, as we mentioned, this is great, is that we're able to just, you know, we're nimble. We're a company that, you know, adjusts to your guys' needs and wants. And, you know, that works obviously in the sales side and our technology, but it also goes with our title side, getting you guys deals closed and getting your commission checks, which is we all want to do. So Jim, do you mind taking off your screen so I can share something really quick?
Yep, absolutely. I saw one other question in the chat, and we'll definitely, there looks like there was somebody
we got a couple more questions just came in. I do. If I do 2 more searches at the time, the site tells me I have maxed out on daily search. How do I get around this? So Jeff, so I think probably what that means is you probably just maybe signed up for an account and you haven't been authorized yet.
Right.
So you should have gotten, if you just signed up for an account, you get 2 free before you're authorized. You're going to get an email from Title Advantage that says, you know, click this link to authorize. Your rep also should have gotten an email that you signed up, so you can reach out to your rep and they'll get you authorized right away. So that's, you should have multiple searches. We do put a cap on them on a monthly basis, but doesn't mean we can't up it. We just don't want to make sure that, you know, someone's not, you know, not necessarily, you know, a home appraiser going out there and taking advantage of these things. So we do have a cap, but if you hit a cap on it, we obviously will up you right away if need be. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
And if someone asks again, can it be used in a cash sale? Yes, there is a way to set up in a loan. You just put 0 there.
0 loan and 0 for the interest rate. Yep.
And then we got one more thing here, I think. We got some really good feedback. A lot of people are saying great, you know, great class. Thank you very much. Great products. A lot of people have been using it a lot. We're seeing some good comments that the title reps have already trained them very well on these things. So, which is good. So let's see here. So once again, I just want to sort of lead off or finish off with, you know, once again, we were doing Strive to Thrive with California Title. So look for things on a weekly basis. We're putting some new features out here. And we also got, let's see here. Let me just close one of these down. Stop.
I saw a couple of questions. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to share, Pickford Escrow does have a mobile app as well. And let's go here. What else do we got here? And we want to just talk to you guys about your team. Once again, your team is here for you. So reach out to your guys. Everything Jim's talking about, you know, the reps are fully trained on these things. A lot of us have been doing a lot of one-on-one Zoom trainings on these things. You guys definitely, if you need some more detailed help on it, you know, we're here for you guys. You know, the things that we're learning during COVID are really going to help us outside of COVID once we're all off, you know, stay-at-home orders. So these tools and stuff and using it in your time to get on this. We had a great turnout today. I think you're going to really be happy that you're learning all these things. So we do have a couple more questions here. Thanks, Caltata. You guys are great. We really appreciate it. Toby at Monarch Beach. Well, great, Lewis. So we pretty much answered every question. If anyone has any last-minute questions, you know, shoot them really quick over, and we'll end this. If you guys are enjoying these classes from Cal Title, you know, let Sam know about them. Say, hey, this is great. We're happy to be here for you guys, and we look forward to seeing you guys all at open houses and in the office meetings in the near future. We see people raise their hand. Let's see here.
And if we have questions or specifics, we definitely are happy to walk. We don't want anybody to be stuck on anything. So if you have something where you're stuck, let your rep know. I'll go through this chat again, and see if I can do some stuff after we're done and signed off. I'll look and see if there's any problems with any specific accounts or anything. But we'll always support our products. So if you have problems, just let your rep know.
And one of the things we are going to do, we'll talk to Sydney's on this, which is Sam's assistant. She did record this, I do know. So we will put this up on our YouTube channel, and we'll make sure all the reps are able to push it out to you guys with the link to our YouTube channel. So you will see this if you missed any of it or want to run through again. One more question I've been getting recently, Jim, since we're doing these classes, is people are having a little bit of issue if they forgot their username and password. And it says forgot, they're having trouble resetting. What should, besides contacting their rep, what else should they do?
There is a password reset. So if I go back here to the share my screen, there is a password reset tool. So if I were to log out, and that way you can see where you would get. So this is actually, I'll just go to Cal Title. There's a button right here on the Cal Title page that says forgot password. So right under where you log in, there's a button that says forgot password, and it will basically take you to a page that asks you to put in your email address, and it's based on the email that you have in the system. So sometimes people will change email addresses. That's one reason why this reset tool gives people trouble. But overall, you should be able to just put in your email address, then you'll get an email moments later with a link in it. You click that and it'll let you pick a new password. It resets it for you. If that still doesn't work, just let your rep know, and your sales rep can go in. We have an admin system back end that we can log into and reset it on our side. So just email your rep. They can forward it to me. Some of them can get in and do it themselves, but either way, we can reset it for you. Sometimes if you'd like, you can tell us what you want your password to be, or do it that way. But you can do it yourself right here under
And we got one more before we log out. It says, can you show the tax lookup one more time? The tax lookup.
Yeah, so the tax lookup, I still have my tab open here. Basically, it's a link that says view property tax, and it showed me this guy right here. We call it our property tax report. This is really a powerful tool, and it shows the current tax status along with, really nice too. In this case, I didn't do it, but you can actually create this as a standalone report too, and give it a new purchase price amount, and it will estimate supplemental taxes too. It didn't do that in this case because I generated it from a net sheet, but so it was really just trying to give us the current taxes and what the seller might owe. But yeah, this is a nice feature, and if it's, again, you may not see that when you log in. If you don't, it's another thing. You can just ask your sales representative, and they can turn it on for your account.
Well, great. Well, everyone, thank you so much. And thank you, Jim, for your help and time. Jim is, a great asset to our company and a great asset to you guys in your business. So once again, we look forward to seeing you guys all hopefully in person. But in the meantime, thank you for coming to our Zoom trainings. You'll be seeing more as we go along on these things. And don't forget to visit our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, reach out to your local reps. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.